What's going on, Animal Crossing fans? My name is Blaze, and new information for Animal Crossing New Horizons is surfaced from a French website called GameKult.com. There was an interview they conducted with both Nogami and Kyogoku, and some new information came out. Some interesting things that we're going to talk about right here. I've got the whole thing translated, so we're gonna go over every question. Let me show you the website real quick so you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. This is GameKult.com. As you can see, it's all French, and I don't speak French, but I wouldn't be a good YouTuber if I didn't use all the resources I have available to me. So I've translated all of this through Google Translate, so there might be some weirdness in the actual translation, but let me go ahead and read the questions right here. I didn't translate this, so I might translate that and see what that says at the end. But let's see. So the first question here is, well, let me get back up there. Here we go. It says, with Animal Crossing New Horizons, we embark this time for a desert island. Has this idea been inspired by your love for traveling? Kyogoku says, no, it's not just a travel-related issue that we've been able to do in the past, even though I personally love to travel and have visited many places alone, including small islands. Nogami says, it's clear that Kyogoku-san is a real globetrotter, but for my part, I'm more restricted to Japan. This is clearly one of the concepts of Animal Crossing, allowing you to live your life while offering an alternative universe, another life, and we can put the two in relationship. So, again, there's going to be some weirdness in the translations because it's kind of strange, but yeah, it is what it is. So, I want you guys to see my face today too. So let me use this scene. The next question here, I think is this one right here. This says, you have unfortunately had to announce a delay for the game during the Nintendo Direct. What is this delay due to? Kyogoku says, with the Animal Crossing franchise, we want players to experience the game as long as possible, well beyond a single year. We did not want to rush things to ensure that everything was in place. That's why we are going to take a little longer than expected. Unfortunately, I know we have disappointed some fans as a result of this announcement, but we want to make sure everything is ready for the game to be fun at the time of release. Simple enough. I think that totally makes sense. Like they wanted to make everything the best it can be, and I certainly would not be happy with a rushed Animal Crossing product. So I'm really happy that they're taking their time. And there's a bunch of articles going around too that say that Nintendo's work-life balance is extremely important to them, and they would rather have the luxury, they'd rather provide their employees with the luxury of being able to visit their families and not have to work 60-hour work weeks over rushing a product and getting it out to market. And I think that is extremely noble and something that I think a lot of American companies should take into consideration, but they probably won't. It's okay. Anyway, so yeah, Animal Crossing delayed because they want to make sure the game is right. So the next question, I believe, is right here. So, let's see. Have you read the reactions of fans, or do you prefer to avoid these things to stay motivated? Good question. So, the answer here from Nogami, of course, we were attentive to the reactions. Kyogoku then says, yes, of course. Says, and not just online, but also when we walk down the aisles of the show, and the fans approach us to tell us that they are anxiously awaiting the release. It's these kinds of interactions that keep our motivation intact. I think I may have missed this one. Let me see if I can get that done real quick while I'm here, because I know that I don't want to miss anything. So this one says, we also had the chance to see the reactions of the fans gathered for the broadcast of Direct simultaneously at Nintendo World in New York. The excitement over there and the online reactions were far more impressive than we had imagined. We were very touched and very happy to receive such a positive welcome. Oh, that warms my heart to hear that. That's so awesome. I'm so glad he said that. So yeah, they do pay attention to fan reactions, which is awesome because I think that the fans are the whole reason that you have a game that's this popular. So I think that you should definitely pay attention and try to cater to them as much as possible. So the next question here. You presented the multiplayer at the Treehouse. What kind of specific activities do you have planned for this part of the game? Kyogoku's answer is, in Animal Crossing, you can enjoy the game alone, but we thought that introducing multiplayer would promote communication. For all those who do not have this opportunity to try it, we wanted to make sure that they would not miss anything content related that the game has to offer. Hence the lack of distinction between solo and multiplayer. That being said, we believe that enjoying the game with other players or family members gives a new dimension to the discovery of Animal Crossing, as we illustrated with the local co-op during the treehouse. We made sure to facilitate access to the multiplayer. That's cool. I'm glad they did that, actually. Nogami goes on to say, communication is one of the defining aspects of the Animal Crossing series. Each title has tried to improve this experience with players. From the Nintendo 64, we thought about setting up a four-way mode to find your friends or family members. Then later on DS, we have implemented online features to enjoy. This time in the multiplayer mode, your friends or your parents will share the same island to have fun together. So far, Animal Crossing has been mostly a portable title, but in the case of the Switch, we wanted to make sure that we include a mode that brought several people together in front of the TV. So that's pretty cool. I imagine there'll be some mini games along the lines of the things that you play on the island with your family and things like that. I couldn't imagine that we would have any boring mini games, or that we wouldn't have any mini games at all. There's got to be something, and I think that competing with your family and friends is part of the game. I don't want them to be like Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival where just everybody wins. I think that's not fun. So the next question here. This means there'll be local multiplayer split screen. So Kigoku says that this is not envisioned. There is certainly an advantage to sharing the screen so that everyone can go about their business. However, with regards to Animal Crossing cooperation mode, we think that it is more important to preserve the cohesion between the different participants. Nogami goes on to say, during Treehouse Live, we illustrated the game styles we imagined for this local co-op, such as the opportunity to collect materials together, or a collegiate walk across the island to see what there is on a specific day on the island. Kogoku says, it's like parents going to the mall with their kids. It would not occur to us to separate them so that everyone can do this little trick. That's why it's best to keep them all together for the kind of experience we want to offer. There's some translation issues there, but I think we understand what they're saying. It's kind of like going to the mall with your kids. Keep everybody together, help each other. You guys can explore the island together, and you can kind of change the leader of the party to kind of, hey, if you want to go do something, and I'll help you or something like that. So it's kind of cool. Next question, a little bit further down here, we've got, let's see. And for those who play as a couple, can we imagine weddings or dinners? Great question. I like that. Kigoku says, there are so many costumes and furniture available that it is always possible to use your imagination to create environments reminiscent of such events. By appealing to your creativity, you can shape this kind of scene in life. And I think one of the coolest things about this game is that there's going to be furniture everywhere. I mean, everywhere. And you can put furniture outside. It doesn't look like there's a limit to what furniture you can put outside. So I'm guessing if you build, a gazebo, and I've seen some screenshots of gazebos in Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, and if you put something like that outside, and then put flowers and stuff all around it, and decorate it more with even more furniture and related items, like you can have like a wedding type thing. You can invite, the other three people that play the console out to play with you and things like that. So you could definitely like have an event like that and record an event like that and just kind of make it its own thing. So I think the creativity is going to be awesome. And I've got some ideas on what I want to do in my town too. So next question here. In New Horizons, you introduce the Nook phone. Do you also plan a dedicated application in real life to synchronize exchanges? So Kigoku says that we want to make sure that everyone can play without making this kind of companion app necessary to enjoy the experience. That's why we prefer to avoid making it a prerequisite. That being said, we will take advantage of the Nintendo Switch Online application for voice chat, and we're also planning other things for the future through this. So one of the things I thought that may have to happen, just because I don't know how, like I know that the Switch controller has an infrared camera, but I don't know if that's going to be something you can use to scan QR codes. So one of the things that I thought was a no-brainer was that the Nintendo Switch Online app would have an Animal Crossing portion, and that's how you would scan QR codes and interact with your Switch game to get those patterns and clothing items in the game. So, we'll see how that goes. But that's my thoughts on how that's going to work. But, nothing that wasn't written down. I'm just saying that. So, Next question. Will there be ideas from Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, which was also based on travel, in the Switch version? Kigoku says that Pocket Camp is an application designed to take advantage of the smartphone environment. With Animal Crossing New Horizons, we asked ourselves, what would be perfectly suited to a traditional game console? Nogami goes on to say that there may be no connection in the true sense of the word, or even an inspiration, but we have made sure to develop a game where it is easier to give yourself a goal, a little like Pocket Camp. And then Kyogoku goes on to say that, of course, we have kept an eye on how the players have taken over Pocket Camp, and we do not want players to choose one over the other. So the next question here is this one, I believe. Do you plan to take advantage of touch to play or customize items? Kyogoku answers that with, we wanted to make sure that New Horizons uses many features of the Switch, both nomadic and docked. When users play in docked mode, we want to make them easier to handle with the traditional control method. To answer your customization question, more specifically, there are my design elements borrowed from New Leaf that will be in New Horizons. So that makes sense. I think just kind of like what I said earlier with the mobile app being something that will be able to scan QR codes. Even if that's not how they implement it, it sounds like they're going to do what New Leaf was doing with my designs and things like that. So designing clothing and that kind of thing. Like one of the coolest things I saw with designs, kind of off topic, was that someone had designed Zelda's white dress from Breath of the Wild, which was just super awesome. And I saw somebody wear that in game, and I about lost my mind. That was so cool. So Nogami goes on to answer that question. In summary, we designed the gameplay for a classic grip, but there will also be elements designed for touch. That's cool. And the touch controls for Pocket Camp were actually one of the better features of the game. So, I didn't think that was too bad. Next question down here. How do you choose the new species of animals that will be included in the game? Kyogoku says that when we come up with the concept of a new character, we think first and foremost about the role he can play in the game. From that moment, the choice of the most appropriate species comes naturally to us. And Nogami says that that's how the character of Tom Nook was born. The reason we chose a tanuki may not be obvious to, say, Europe, but in Japan, the raccoon is synonymous with good deals. The same goes for Thibaut, or Blathers, the curator of the museum, who's been there since the very first episode, simply because owls are symbolic of wisdom. So that makes sense. I think that whatever they choose for the next animals to be in the game, or the next NPC named characters, I'm sure they're going to take their time and use the most appropriate animal. Next up, you must also receive many suggestions from fans. Do you ever think of that? Nogami answers that first and says that, as we said, if it happens that fan designs match the role we imagine, we sometimes get inspired. So I myself put up a few ideas for the next Animal Crossing, and I'll link those at the end of the video if you guys want to watch what I came up with. And it sounds a lot like what we've got here. So I know everything has not been shown off yet, but there's definitely some similarities to what I envisioned and what they're actually doing. So next question is, ideally, having to play a little each day can sometimes be perceived as a constraint for some more adult players. Is this something you consider when developing? Kyogoku says that Animal Crossing being modeled on the real calendar, we obviously take into account the rhythms of life of adults to offer them an adequate experience. This was the case in New Leaf with the mayor's ordinances that allowed the opening hours of the shops to be adapted. We think of other smaller ideas to enjoy the activities of the desert island on New Horizon. Again, if we make life a little too much for the player, we risk losing the charm of Animal Crossing and the link that exists with the passing of time. And is this balance that we keep in mind? Nogami goes on to say that I think the age of our fans covers a wide variety of lifestyles, between kids who want to play straight out of school or adults who come home from work in the evening. That's why we try to offer everyone an experience that satisfies them. It's almost impossible for a solo player to control everything the Animal Crossing world has to offer, and that's where cooperation comes in. So I think it sounds like it's going to be a lot like New Leaf, in that you don't have to play at certain times, but if you're someone who has a job, it's very hard to it's very hard to play at certain times of the day. Next question. With the advent of cloud saves and automatic backup, how will you handle Mr. Rossetti's intervention? So I made another video about this earlier today. So there's some. They answer this again. They say that New Horizons, and this is Nogami. New Horizons will not be compatible with cloud backup to avoid manipulating time, which remains one of the founding concepts of the series. Next question. I'm not going to cover that too much because I covered it in a different video. So, next question is the introduction of the Miles system at Tom Nook is also a way to easily offer goals to players. There are two types of goals. This is Kyogoku. There are two types of goals behind the Nook Miles. Animal Crossing is a game that gives you great freedom of action, and some users invent goals very easily while others experience more difficulty in goal making. With this reward system, we hope that those who wish to do so can more easily set their own goals, and then as their name suggests, the miles earned over the activity can be exchanged for new items to collect. Obviously, we want the bells as the main currency of the game to attribute some value to the most expensive objects, but with Horizon's Miles, we want to associate another type of value that does not relate to money, something more abstract, linked to an activity ultimately not very expensive, but which allows the player to get enough miles so they can find an interest in and enrich their gaming experience. There are some translation issues there. I had to kind of ad-lib or improvise, but so it sounds like what they're saying is that you can create your own goals in the game, much like you had to do in New Leaf, because they had the meow coupons, which were great, and you could do those goals if you wanted to. But some players wanted to make their own goals, like I want to reorganize this one area, or plant new trees in this one area, or make this area stand out red as a color for the outside scheme. So that's still a major part of the game, but Nook Miles are going to help players who have trouble making goals like that. So okay. Can you confirm that Animal Crossing New Horizons will be compatible with the Amiibo range? This is a great question. I'm really... This answer is vague, but Kyogoku says that given the number of cards and figures available, we obviously think of making New Horizons compatible with Amiibo, but I cannot tell you more about this compatibility at this stage of development. So I'm thinking that's kind of a... that's like a... Neo from the Matrix answer. They're like, oh, you can't get me with that question, dodging bullets and stuff. But of course, that's not a no. That's not a no. And I think that if it was not in the game, they would have said no. And it may not be in the game, and there may be an update planned, but I think that there is going to be Amiibo support. So, okay, moving on. Next question right here. We've got... Let's see. And when is the best of KK Sliders? When is the best of KK songs going to be a playlist on Spotify? Kogoku laughs and says, the developers do not have a hand on this stuff, so I have no idea, unfortunately. Nogami says, you can find KK in concert every Saturday in New Horizons. Kogoku goes on to say, it might have been difficult to hear during the treehouse, but you could hear KK's music in the background from the radio. We have included different ways to listen to KK's music in New Horizons, and we hope fans will enjoy that too. So that's the whole interview, and I think it's actually very interesting, some of the answers that they have on here. KK Slider will be in your town on Saturday nights again, which is awesome. I don't know where he's going to set up shop. Probably over by the Tom Nook's tent, most likely, or maybe he'll be kind of just secluded randomly somewhere under a tree in your town. But he will be in your town somewhere, which is cool. Amiibo support most likely is coming. They talked about cloud backup and how that's an effort to deter people from manipulating time and time traveling, which I think is also cool in its own way. I can't even talk today. I have a whole video about that I posted earlier today, so if you guys want to check that out, I'll have a link to that in my playlist at the end of the video. So check those videos out when you get a chance. Yeah, there's some great answers here, some great information that we came across here. New stuff coming out all the time, and I'm gonna try to be online as often as I can to kind of get that going. So, or to get the information out there to you in as timely of a manner as possible. So, if you like the video, hit like, subscribe. Put your comments down below if you liked anything that these questions answered, or if this cleared up any confusion for you. Before I go, I do want to read these last two snippets here, because there was some information that I didn't get a chance to translate, the very first two paragraphs. So let me see if there's anything that they have to say. I'll just read it. So the first paragraph there, the one I just highlighted. So this is a quick reminder of the facts before this interview. During the Nintendo Direct and then the video presentation from the show, Nintendo unveiled new information about this new Animal Crossing. Its title already, but also its new concept. Since New Horizons will now propose you to evolve on a desert island, which it will be advisable to arrange as you wish. This is the other point of the game, being able to set up camp both inside the tent and outside, and you have elements of decoration where you want. This sounds like it's just reiterating what we already kind of know about the game. I don't think I'm going to read this one. I'm going to try to translate it and see what it says. I think it's just saying the same thing. An in-game application, Nook Phone, will record the different recipes, take photos, or even appeal to the different inhabitants of the island, all without necessarily having to pay tribute to bells. Because with the miles of the good Tom Nook, it will also be possible to accomplish new activities with rewards at the key. Last precision. The translation's weird. Animal Crossing seasons will always adapt in real time, but also according to the hemisphere in which players are located. For the rest, we'll let you refer to the interview below. So yeah, I think the hemisphere thing is actually really cool too. So I'm very excited for that. Let's see. They're saying that first paragraph says that the announcement was a heartbreaker since there was a delay till March. And they're talking about they just had a chance to interview the developers. So that's going to be it for me for this video. Thanks, guys, for checking it out. And make sure you stay tuned for my future videos. Thanks again. I'll catch you on the flippity flip.